So we've seen how our visual system, according to ecological approach, uses optic flow information and focus of expansion information that changes at different rates, and also information that doesn't change, right? Um, and usually that helps to navigate through the environment. Now, what other factors do we use? Of course, we use optic flow information we have seen. What else do we use? Um, Research has found that we use things like visual directory direction strategy, spatial updating strategy, right? Let's talk about visual direction strategy. Visual direction strategy is a strategy um, you use uh, when you uh, are walking towards a target. Let's say you're walking towards a tree, right? And when you're walking towards a tree, when you are far away from it, right? How do you stay course? You stay course by orienting yourself towards the tree, and that is called visual directive strategy. So if you're heading away, then you try to orient yourself towards the target. If you're heading in a different direction, you try to orient yourself toward the target. So that's a visual directive strategy. You are visually directing yourself to the target by orienting yourself towards the target. That's the idea. Now, uh, this is also seen in blind walking experiments where participants were asked to walk directly towards the target and stop, and they found that people were able to actually stop within a fraction of a meter of it. Okay, so we use visual strategy, a direction strategy, but we also use spatial updating um, where participants, if you look at this picture, participants, um, when they were given directions to start from here, go straight, then take a right versus go straight, take a right again, they were able to judge accurately. This is true irrespective whether they were asked to do it with open eyes or closed eyes. This is possible only when they kind of have this visual map. And remember, when we talked about the working memory, we talked about the visual spatial sketchpad, which kind of creates um, this scenario within the head. So you're kind of updating that spatial information of where the objects are. When you try ask to take a left or a right, you're kind of manipulating that information in the visual spatial sketchpad. So that's the spatial updating strategy. I'm more interested in this situation where when you're driving, where is the focus of expansion? Now, this is a very interesting thing. When I first started learning to drive in the US, meaning four-wheeler, um, a car, right? I asked the bus driver at my university, I asked him, where do you focus? I know it sounds like a very silly question, but just imagine you have the wheel, right? What is that you need to focus on that would keep you on the road, right? So, what is that invariant information? Is it the focus of expansion? So, again, at that point, I had no idea what these words were. So what I used to do, which I later realized was a very dangerous thing to do, was I actually took the entire the wheel, right? And I used to focus on the center of the wheel and try to put that center on the center of the road and try to make sure this center is at the center. That's a very painful thing to do. There is a better way to do it. Better way to do it is to actually, the invariant information is to focus on the road. Usually if you're a left side driving, meaning that you sit on the left side, right? So you are focusing on the divider on the left side towards the driver's side, and that is your invariant information. In fact, a study was conducted, and again, this study was conducted in 1994. This was in UK, so that's why it looks slightly different here. So don't get confused. What they did is they made they uh, put things, instruments, an automobile with instruments. They put a lot of instruments within the automobile to record the angle of the steering and the car speed, and also a video eye tracker to see where they are focusing on. And what they found was, if this dot you see here is the focus of expansion, participants were not focusing on the focus of expansion in the driving, like what I was talking about earlier. That's not where they were focusing. What they were focusing on was on the side. Now, because this is right wheel driving. I know in the UK it's opposite, right? So they found was what they found was the focus of it was the participants were focusing on not on the focus of expansion FOE, but the focus was because it keeps changing. Like, if the roads are curvy, right, the focus of expansion keeps changing. You cannot keep track of it. It will be very dangerous, right? So what they found was that participants would actually focus on the tangent of the curve, focus on the tangent of the curve and monitoring the position of the car relative to the line. And they never saw straight ahead, like I was talking to you earlier, but they would focus right in front of the lights. Okay. Because it's a right side driving, um, how do I say this? Because they're coming from that side, right? They would focus on here. This is a tangent. If they're coming from this side, this is a right side driving. So they will always focus on the tangent of the curve on the right. So they're focusing on the relative motion to the curve. So that is it.